Hey guys, some gamer dude here. A while back, a regular viewer of the channel asked about my opinion on Alternate Souls, the arena card game by My Will Studio. My Will Studio being the company owned by prior Force of Will co-owner Eiji Shishida. I gave a rough outline of my opinion, but never went much further than that. In the last month, My Will Studio has partnered with Japanime Games to get it out the door and have put up their Kickstarter for the game. As of writing, it's about halfway there. Thanks to a friend who's still into Force of Will and by extension has interest in Alternate Souls, I was blasted with a lot of information and have reviewed the manual for the game. After absorbing everything, I wanted to talk about it. Before we go on, I think I should explain what Alternate Souls is. Alternate Souls is a TCG board game hybrid utilizing art assets from Force of Will. You have 5 pieces represented by acrylic standees, 1 ruler and 4 linkers. Each of these pieces come with 5 cards to give them special abilities, and those are used to form a deck. The goal of the game is to kill your opponent's ruler or score 2 touchdowns. Yes, they are called that, by getting your pieces across the board. The cards come in the 5 colours of magic, and each piece has legendary. The Alternate Souls story starts last year at an event that Eiji Shishida and Jeff Finnegan, the former owner of Force of Will Co. and former Force of Will Global Liaison respectively, held in Osaka, Japan to promote their new venture, Alternate Souls. This event had YouTubers such as Ruler School, aka Jeremy Franklin, and assorted high-level Force of Will players to allegedly playtest the game. I say allegedly because of the following. The game was given a hefty slog of criticism about just every aspect of it. The price was a large concern. The starter decks are $30 American and the boosters are $8 American, both of which are double the normal prices for TCGs. This is caused by the gimmick of the game, the acrylic game pieces. It is worth noting that the game has no rarity system and the boosters have sets of cards attached to the ruler. It's closer to a blind box than it is a booster pack. Acrylic is not an expensive material, not in the slightest. It's a plastic that can be bought in large bags at art stores for little cost, but is being used to justify the cost to the consumer. This is not the first time this stunt has been pulled by people related to Force of Will. The Lapis Cluster starter decks came with 2 dice and 2 additional boosters. This was used to justify the price of the starter doubling. Plastic dice and boosters that were never necessary and do not have that much value, nowhere near the cost of the product doubling. Even so, remember Magic just throws in 2 boosters in Planeswalker decks at no additional cost. But it goes further. That $8 price? Other companies have tried expensive regular boosters for similar gimmicks before. Both Wizards' Hecatomb and Spin Master's Redakai are not so dissimilar to Alternate Souls that a comparison cannot be made. Both used a plastic material for their cards, resulting in $6 boosters, both of which had much better reasons for the material, as it was for functionality, not visuals. Both required their cards to be translucent for a modular card gimmick and gameplay. Both failed miserably because of the pricing code to the consumer due to this gimmick. Final point on the standees? They're too big. They take up 3 spaces on the grid. They are so unreasonably large. Argument could be made for the map being too small, but it's frankly both. Back when this event happened and Jeff was interacting with the Reddit Force of Will community, I made the suggestion that they should have thought about the cost and size. Something like a POG would have been more affordable and less disruptive to gameplay. The standees have very little information on them, and POGs are durable enough. I have seen this echoed by others since. Others at the event suggested a modular board game would have been preferential to randomized boosters, as doubles will feel bad at the price asked, and they too feel the game is a hard sell at the price. Nevertheless, the acrylic standees are not practical for gameplay. Comments I have read from people who were at the event and played the game said it's not very well fleshed out, lacking a lot of depth and is not balanced. Fire is underpowered, unable to move sideways, and light overpowered, racing across the board. Likewise, there is some thought that the game is potentially broken out of the gate thanks to just how overpowered light is. The core is good, that was said a lot, it's just everything surrounding it is garbage. It needed developers to make something good of the concept. IG and Jeff took little to none of the criticism. According to people that were there, the game is essentially the same now as it was presented on that day. warts and all. This is why I said the event was allegedly for playtesting. It was said to be, but it was not. It was free advertising via YouTubers and word of mouth, as well as revenue raising. They were allegedly trying to sell their floppy comic book style art book for a whopping 4,500 yen. Checking my local bookstores, that's about what a 250-page hardcover Magic the Gathering art book goes for. But it gets better. This art book was originally a giveaway at conventions, and allegedly IG and Jeff were trying rather hard to sell it. They needed the cash, which frankly doesn't surprise me, as it is said IG lost Force of Will due to being really bad with money. That is apparently the event that transpired. The more business-minded people at Force of Will grew tired of IG wasting company resources. That's quite different to IG being stabbed in the back. The story purported by Jeff and is backed up by the failed ventures such as the anime film and architect, as well as IG's constant jet setting. I think a lot of the issues are understandable if you've talked to Jeff and not been sucked in by the cult of personality surrounding the man among the Force of Will community. Jeff sees card games as art and thinks gameplay taking second stage to whatever else the designer is focused on is perfectly fine. He even said to me on Reddit that Force of Will's gameplay was not its strong suit. Let that sink in. Even if it's true, it's not something someone should be okay with. Artwork is only a small part of what attracts people to the game. Art actually seems to contribute to people not wanting to try your game actually. I'd say more of the attraction is theming and gameplay. Given that Alternate Souls is sold on Force of Will's back, I think deep down they know this. Alternate Souls relies on Force of Will's theme, not anything of its own merits. IG and Jeff have pushed the art on the acrylic standees as the main focus of the game since the beginning. Everything else takes second stage, and this is not right. Without taking on the criticism about gameplay, I think it's set up for failure. I think we need to talk about taking criticism again. Jeff said to me that due to designers and developers seeing their work as art, that is why they take criticism so personally. Probably why nothing was fixed here, and why you see so many staff from gaming companies blow a gasket on social media. I see the world a bit differently. I see it as engineering, but that doesn't mean I don't get startled and upset when people criticize. I'm going to talk about my own experiences now. I like criticism and welcome it, but some people can be very curt with you and it cuts deep. People being dismissive of your work also cuts pretty darn deep too. Gets you upset and understandably so. Either you feel strongly about it or you've put a lot of blood, sweat and tears into it. But as an adult and as a person developing a product, you need to ask them questions, talk to them, and failing that, go over their comments to extract what they're actually trying to convey to you. Do they have a valid point? Some people are idiots, or oblivious to the grander scale of what you've done, but they still might have a valid point. Others might see the same flaws or issues later down the track. It is for the best for you now to nip it in the bud. Learn from it, improve from it. I did this with my own game. It means there is more work and testing to be done, work I didn't expect to be doing. I need to understand the changes I made and make sure it works. But the game will be better for it. It's frustrating and time-consuming, but worth it in the long run. Going back to Alternate Souls, I think it's worth noting that the acrylic standee is the game's only notable aspect. From a gameplay standpoint, it gives the feel of a mishmash of Monster Collection and Force of Will, with none of the depth of either. This shouldn't be surprising, as Force of Will itself is just Magic with a mod of Hearthstone's resource system, and in its older iterations, Yu-Gi-Oh's traps and Duel Master's shields. The centralized avatar character, while based on Magic's commander, is its only unique aspect because they fleshed it out. It was worked on to be its own unique identity, though not enough in my opinion. This isn't to say derivative or chimera games are bad. I believe TCGs are to be grouped into genres, not derided for similarities they have to what came before. But we also have to be honest. Doing something new or using older components in new and interesting ways is not IG's strong suit. If you backed Alternate Souls, I do genuinely hope it turns out for you. I hope they fix the balancing and add more complexity to the game before it goes to print. While the standee issue likely can't be addressed now, I hope you get used to it over time. I might suggest just using only the bases at a certain point to save space, as a larger map may be too space consuming itself. But I don't have confidence in the product or the people behind it. The product is not well conceived, not well developed, and not well priced. The focus of the team behind it is on flair and spectacle, not substance or practicality, let alone a balance of priorities. The track record with their prior game, Force of Will, isn't good, even if they try to shirk blame and responsibility onto others. With Force of Will seemingly stabilising, even if it's got issues still, reality and their assertions don't seem to line up. Not to me at the very least. All I can say is be cautious with Alternate Souls. It doesn't have the makings of a game that will last or keep interest for too long. In my opinion, it still had a lot of work needed. This has been Some Gamer Dude, and thanks for watching.